Hello and welcome to Beth of Fresh Air, Friday, June 19, 2026. I now say the date every time just to remind myself that we're still here. I'll stop saying that, but there was some doubt, let's say, at some point. Today, I'm super excited to have a return guest on the Beth of Fresh Air, Dagmar Stansova. I'm going to bring her on right now. We're going to talk about getting de-nickeled, a subject we've been following very closely, let's say. Hello, Dagmar. Welcome.
Hello, Beth. It's always a joy and a thrill to hang out and talk about the things that there's really nowhere else to talk about.
Right, exactly. I know that's actually one of the thrills I get out of my own podcast. Where do you talk about these things?
Yeah.
Quick little anecdote. I have an undisclosed source of unfortified white organic flour in the city today, and they even delivered, which was kind of a wow. So I'm excited about that. That the reason for that is that it is low nickel. And hello to Jackie K. Nice to see you. Glad to have you here. And so we're going to go deep into the subject that has been very deep in Garrett's world these days. If you're not familiar with Dr. Garrett Smith, he is a really intrepid researcher who is unafraid to say something, oh, I learned something new. How many people are afraid to say that? Never mind if it made something that they used to say wrong, which is not exactly the case in today's stream. It's more of an add-on, although it does put into context a lot of what we've been learning from him anyway. I actually just met somebody, shout out to them. I don't know if they're going to see this or not, but that's here in Winnipeg and has been with Garrett for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so even before the days of vitamin A, so she was in fact taking vitamin A, and she was right there in the transition when he started making these discoveries. So huge shout out. Yeah, huge shout out to Garrett. I hope to meet her in person at some point. Hello, Lisa B. Welcome. Glad to have you here. And Mr. Lebrad Pass is in the room. That's fantastic. And you'll be catching up. Hello, Gabriel. Yay. Gabby, as I know you, glad to make it live, at least for the beginning. Yeah. This is, of course, recorded. It always turns into, sometimes people email and ask, where's the recording? It's always exactly where the live stream was, so you don't have to go chasing. I'm only going live to YouTube and Rumble these days. Facebook or Fakebook is off the table. They suppress my videos so terribly, and then they just delete them after 1 month anyway, so they don't get it anymore. You'll have to come around these parts. And Spotify and iTunes will be uploaded usually about 24 hours after the stream, or even sooner. So how are you, Dagmar? So great to have you here.
I am just so happy to be here in the room with you,
Nice.
because in a way, like who you are and how you conduct yourself and all the platforms that you have, you're such a good example of what Garrett is doing too, which is you're constantly learning, you're exploring, you're open. And no matter how many things you've done in the past, I've never heard you say, oh, I tried all that. I tried all that. Just, I can't do it. You know how people, I think that's part of I don't know if it's a psyop or whatever, but a lot of people have that heaviness that comes from, oh, I did all that. I just tried everything. Nothing works. And then that's it, at the end of exploration. And this is what I so respect about Garrett, is that he keeps upping the game, and he's learning, and I think that he's an example too of how to live in the excitement of learning rather than like, oh my God, I made a mistake in the past. That whole thing, like people focus like, oh God, I never want to make that mistake. Or like, oh, I was a raw vegan. God, that was terrible. That was dumb. I can't believe I did that. And now I'm going to stop doing anything so that I don't make a mistake.
Right.
And to me, like the mistakes are like the most exciting and one of the most powerful ways to learn, because every mistake I made led me to another exploration, and I just in a way, I feel, even though we are going to talk about this, being de-nickeled, but we're really addressing something more profound, which you've been addressing with a lot of the people, helping people to to have that internal space with which to go through a major transformation. It's not just about food, we're addressing, Garrett's been talking a lot about this, like just the difference between being obsessive about your diet or just discovering and learning, that fine place of like, oh my God, this is terrible. Everything is a poison. How people just drop everything. Everything is a poison, so I don't care. I'm just going to keep eating more poisons. Instead of like, well, wait a second, what can I do? And to just not become like obsessively terrified of, oh, I'm eating this now. I went out and I drank from a stainless steel cup in the restaurant, and now this is the end. Like to have a little distance and lightness, but at the same time be disciplined and learning. And I know that a lot of people who've been going to your what are you calling those sessions for that you're doing? Yeah, you're deprogramming. Yeah, it's like they're getting a lot from that, because in a way that's a huge component of this whole journey. The mindset, the come from place, and it does require some fortitude.
It really does. Yeah. So just to repeat the title of that, for those who are already members in the Love Your Liver platform and learning from Garrett, I'm doing a weekly deprogramming your health session, because that's what I noticed, that Garrett's so got it going on when it comes to teaching people to. I love what you're saying just about the principles behind this. This isn't just another bit of information to add. It's about a whole mindset, that doing whatever it takes, having that commitment, and just being all in, so that, oh, okay, I tried this and it didn't work. Then you don't go into defeat. Oh, I tried all that. And yeah, so the beauty also is that he's now surrounded by people like that. And so when low nickel came around, everybody jumped on, right?
Yeah.
Everyone just like, oh, it's some, if anyone was accusing this of being a cult, which I don't see any signs of that at all, I really don't. But it could be like, oh, we just follow everything that Garrett says, and it's actually not that. It's more like we are wanting to be part of the learning, part of the experiment. He's not asking us to be part of the experiment. We're just full on in, reporting our findings so that we can very quickly compare results, and what's working for some, what works for some doesn't always work for everyone by any stretch of the imagination. That's why it's, like you said, you need to know yourself. And that is where the deprogramming comes in, because you get more and more sensitive to your own inner world, whether that's your sensations, your emotions, your thoughts, your beliefs, false personalities, which I talk about a lot now, since Mike and I've been having a lot of conversations. And yeah, so we're really going to get into this today. I want to say hello to Miss Lily, who is looking forward to the presentation. Thanks for being here. And Janet as well. Great to have you. I know what Janet you are now. That took me probably 7 tries to ask you. All right. Yeah. And
can I add one little thing? Just,
yes.
What I've observed about in the office hours, and not on YouTube, but in the office hours when Garrett is talking to people about their issues, so many times he would just sincerely say, you know what, I'm stumped. and he'll say, well, I'm going to research that, or let's try this, but he's not, and we all have a choice. We can, I feel like exactly what you said, that it's an invitation to go on a journey. And all the people who are on this, none of us is going like, but you said 1/4 of a teaspoon, and and I did that, and now I feel terrible.
Exactly.
So most of the people already are, on a journey and taking ownership of their exploration. And I think that a big part of this is to befriending the unknown. As again, my favorite subject always, be okay with the unknown, be okay with not knowing. And then, just turning things over. And we have such a great resource. I mean, he's doing so much work for us. I'm so grateful because I used to do this on my own. And reading those research papers on PubMed is boring as shit. And it's just, I don't want, and he, so he kind of picks them out and he does it really fast. And if I doubt him or something, I can go to the paper and I can see how I would, read that. So I just feel like so blessed that I stumbled into this, but there is no accidents. I probably didn't stumble. I probably, paved my way into it. But okay, now I'm done. Go ahead.
Yeah, some divine intervention, I think, showed up. I want to say one more thing about the support that people provide each other. Like, of course, Garrett is supportive once you're in his consultation kind of track, and with office hours, that's going to change, but we'll see how it does. But people support each other, and that's how you and I have been connected quite a bit as well. That, if I, and the low nickel thing, I think, was a shock to everybody, including Garrett, right? Because his people that are, I think there's around 3,000 people in Love Your Liver right now, could be more, 4,000 or something like that. And nobody from the existing research could have guessed what was going to happen to us. Right. And I remember it was one of the few times that, like, Garrett actually texted me at some point and said, "How are you doing?" And I said, "I'm a hot mess." Like this. But having the ability to connect, with each other and get that kind of support where you can compare notes and get some ideas, because when you're in the thick of things, even what you know might not show up for you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I know there's been times where it's gone both ways. We've been able to say things to each other like, "Oh, by the way, maybe that, you're taking too much zinc," or whatever it was at times. And so, yeah, I appreciate this community so much. It's been really, really amazing for almost 2 years now. Hey, a couple of months shy of that. We've both been part of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Very good. Well, thanks everyone. Mm-hmm. I was just going to say thanks everyone for being here. It's really great to have you. And we will, I'm going to quickly share Garrett's website. This isn't the best place to get to know him, but it is the place to sign up and be one of his members and get access to the Deprogramming Your Health. So I'll just share that so people can see it. I would go to his YouTube channel to get how many live streams has he done on Nickel now? Like 6 or 7 or something?
Yeah.
And the first 3 or 4 were about 4 hours long.
Yep.
Yeah. So you might want to listen. I mean, I couldn't do it on double speed because of all the research in there. I actually have to do it even sometimes slower than he would say it normally. But it's well worth it. Like, yeah, it's work, but we're more together in this work. That's something that I value very much, like you said. All right. Yeah. So let's look at, first of all, how did this subject end up in the research so big as it is, right? This is not looking for fine-tooth combs and hidden behind this and that. It's like boldly, researched over and over and over again with the same kind of results and conclusions. So do you want to describe how that little twist is happening?
Well, I mean, the is the word ubiquity? Something that's omnipresent, that it's everywhere. Yeah. Just the fact that there's so much information about it already and research, and yet it is never spoken about. It is not addressed in any detox protocol in the alternative health world. That's mercury, yes, of course. Lead, yes, of course. But nobody mentions this one element that happens to be magnetic and conductive. which is like the world that we are, it's getting more intense in terms of the frequencies that we are living in. And that's the whole point, is that we are becoming conductive and magnetic so that we can be in alignment or resonate with whatever frequencies might be put out there, whether it's on purpose or not. I can't say for sure, but there, it could just be utter greed and stupidity, thinking like, oh yeah, we're advanced technology, let's do 6G now, but somehow I think that there is that it's not all, just greed and stupidity. I think there's a plan there, that I'd have to really be unicorn and rainbows type of a person to not notice.
Yeah, exactly. So I was going to jump in and I was looking for an answer there, but I can't fault you because you didn't read my mind, which is totally fine. That's all fine.
I know you were looking for something. What were you looking for?
The fact that it's couched in terms of an allergy in the medical literature, right? So that's why they allow it to be as abundant as it is, because it's only referring to those people that for nickel is an allergy. And so it's easy to look past it. And like you said, not a single alternative path that I've ever come across, and you've been through way more than I have, is talking about nickel toxicity. And so it's portraying it that there's this small group of people, or I don't know, large group of people that have this nickel allergy, and then they need, they need this information in order to not suffer so much. And there's a whole, diet they'd already researched, and there was Reddit groups, and people have been doing this for a long time. But for them to call it an allergy is very misleading, because at the end of the day, it is a toxic metal, not just to people that are so-called allergic, but to everyone, to all the cells. We were learning actually about how nickel destroys cells from the inside out. Was it Garrett? No, I was reading that was the Inner Circle. There's a lot of sources of Garrett's work right now, so just to clarify, when it comes to that allergy, what it means. Say you are the person who wears a cheap bracelet and you get a reaction on your skin or whatever happens. It means that you're up to your eyeballs, almost drowning in nickel. That one little bit of metal on your body is going to bring a reaction. That means that you're kind of at the height of the toxicity.
Your barrel is full, your cup is overflowing. But also they're using a word, not just allergy, they're using a word which is kind of like really makes it so like nickel sensitivity, that they're saying sensitivity, you're sensitive to it. And, you've been wearing the same thing, let's say for 20 years, and suddenly you become sensitive. Like they don't address the fact that it is just like the whole, toxic bile paradigm, is that it's accumulation, and everybody hits a different point at a different time in different organs, and in different moments in their lives. But people still go like, well, I was eating the same thing for 20 years, and then suddenly, there's nothing to do with my diet. Suddenly, I have this tumor or something, just shows up. And so it's the headspace of actually thinking in terms of, like, maybe, and there may be some people listening to this who don't know anything about the toxic bile paradigm. So just bring that in a little bit. What is the essence of that? What does it have to do with? And I would say that for me, it addresses something that most of the alternative health practices don't, which is most of them focus on deficiencies. And even if they do focus on toxicities and detoxifying, they are pumping people full of herbs and other chemicals to push the detoxification. Whereas this paradigm is kind of almost like a duh thing, which is like, instead of trying to detox, just stop or lower. You can't stop, but you can lower your your poisons. You can lower the intake of intoxing. You can lower that, and we have power over that, which is a very different approach. And
Exactly.
so and the liver is an accumulator. It does accumulate poisons, and it will grow even to accumulate, create more fat to store things in. And then once it can't anymore, then it'll find other places in our bodies and it will create more fat, especially around the middle, because our body wants to protect our organs. So got to put the poison somewhere, and then they end up in tissues, and you don't know which one it will be depending on your history, you know. So that's important concept about the nickel, like you were saying, that once your cup gets full, and we don't know when that moment will happen. And the
Exactly.
medical view and even alternative medicine is always thinking about, like, what made that happen? What did you just do? Or was it that, you were traumatized at this moment, and that, which it could, because that does affect your body chemistry. You end up creating your own poisons, right? So just wanted to throw that in.
Nice. Thank you. And Jackie was saying it's the same with oxalic acid, which I know you're a big fan of, pointing out the oxalates, and then fascinating how high nickel foods are also high oxalate foods in many cases. So that's really interesting. And used to be diagnosed as oxalate poisoning until the 70s. Interesting. And guess they couldn't sell a pill for it. So yeah, it became not a non-diagnosis. Blaming the patient as usual. You got it. And Gabby said that it's the same as EMF, called electromagnetic sensitivity, when the reality is that it's bioactive and affects every living being. I'm the same with fragrances, and people are like, oh, it doesn't affect me, so it's not a problem. It's like, well, that's, might not be your Achilles heel, but it doesn't mean that it's good for you. I was going to say how I've been, of course, using ChatGPT like near everyone to research a variety of things, including nickel. And it decided one day that it's putting two and two together, that I'm a sensitive person. And I actually right away said, actually, you don't know me and you don't have a hot clue. I'm not filling you in on why I'm doing this. You're going to talk about it like sensitivity. I don't care. Like that's, but you can see how this sensitivity the label of sensitivity has been weaponized against us, that we're this group. And it's what you said, the cup is full and it's time to start not filling the cup, and then allowing your body, because that your body actually is designed to detox. And that's why a lot of our ancestors could get away with a much higher toxic load, because their bodies were working well and they hadn't inherited so much weakness at that level yet, or the toxicity itself can be inherited.
Yeah, we're seeing that more and more, that I think it's something like crazy, like 7 out of 10 babies are born jaundiced. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's a huge number, that it's now considered normal, that a mother, a pregnant woman, will have high, the liver enzymes, and that it's like, okay, that's normal, but that's how it is passed down from mother to child, whatever they were exposed to. The placenta is not as strong as it used to be, because it's getting full of oxalates, one thing, which sometimes causes mysterious bleeding after giving birth, and you got these sharp crystals in there. I mean, it's a shit show with various toxins that are in the bile. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a whole range of them. And then nickel suddenly went to the front of the line. So you guys might have heard me talk about copper, and there's a lot of controversy, and a lot of alternative people, they love their copper and they take it and they wear the things and drink out of the things, and that kind of thing. And I was beating the anti-copper drum for a while, because I really did consider it to be my nemesis. Things that had, were lining up to be copper toxicity over my years. And when nickel came into our awareness, I explicitly asked Garrett, how much more poisonous do you think nickel is than copper? He said at least 10 times. I don't know if that would have changed. So it went to the front of the line in importance.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk about what damage that nickel does to the body. And please do feel free to jump in. I have a feeling we've got a bunch of nickel experimenters, or low nickel experimenters is a better way to say, not nickel experimenters. And so, like, the main things that the number one thing that I think it causes a lot of different damage, but the number one thing is leaky gut, which is something that's very commonly known in alternative world. You've got the GAPS diet. They talk about leaky gut. That's not new to people's awareness, but it looks to be that nickel is the main cause of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything, nickel loves the skin and your intestines, and your intestines are actually your skin on the inside. That's one of the ways that the body keeps things from going into the bloodstream, is by continuation of an internal skin, another way to protect itself. So yeah. And the whole thing of aging, I guess, I'm sure has a huge component of being nickeled. Because remember, like back in the olden days, when you see pictures of your grandparents, sometimes they'd still look so good, even older, and people just, their hair didn't get gray soon, which is one of the things we learned, is that nickel is what turns your hair white. Which I'm now having an experience of, as I'm being denickeled. It's like suddenly, whoa.
Oh, right. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's what Garrett's been talking. Yeah. It's what Garrett talked about with the hair tests, that as soon as he had gone through a period of low nickel, his hair tests spiked on nickel, which means it's coming out of the body. And so, he's going to test again, is what I heard, that, and he wants to see now that it's come down in that time as well. As soon as he has enough hair, he's going to do that.
Yeah. That's huge, though. I actually, just a little personal anecdote is that, I noticed, since I've been on the low nickel diet, my hair, first of all, I got like white hair suddenly coming in, and also the texture, my hair has transformed, like it's suddenly lost its curl. That's why I'm wearing my hair up, because I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. It's not, I don't recognize. It's acting strange and completely different. So I'm assuming this will be part of the detox process, and then eventually it will come back and the color will come back. But I mean, that's huge. And I also noticed that, like, I probably shouldn't wear lipstick, because who knows what the heck is in it, even though I try to get ones that are healthier, but that the color looks different than it used to look. Like it's reacting differently with my skin.
Wow.
And I'm looking, I'm going, what the hell? It's the same lipstick, but why does it look like it's got more blue in it?
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So there's something. And my big issue was when I was a raw vegan and I ate all those things, and then I was doing all the raw dairy, I developed a sun allergy. So a lot of my stuff is in my skin. You'd never know I have an issue unless you see me go out in the sun. But that's transforming too. That first time in like 15 years of trying to work on this, there is some movement, like it happens and then it goes away like way faster than it used to last for hours. And now it's like in 15 minutes, it goes away. So something is shifting. So I'm waiting to do my big testimonial when it's, when I can stand in the sun, no problem. I'm saving myself for a big testimonial.
That's awesome. Yeah. So the skin is a main path, or the paths out of the body, and the ones that the systems that it damages are primarily the kidneys are the detox pathway, which is different. That's where it was a little bit of a twist, because it's not the liver, where toxic bile paradigm is focused a lot on the liver and the removal of all the other toxins, but nickel exits through the kidneys. It is water soluble, we'll talk about a little bit more about the biochemistry. And so it favors water. There have been times where I have had a big detox release, and then I noticed that there was I sorry for too much information. We always do that in Love Your Liver, but I passed a lot of fluid and way more than I had drank. So it's like my body was, oh, here comes the nickel out. So yeah, the gut, the lining of the gut stores nickel, and that's what starts to happen when you are detoxing, is that the nickel comes out of the gut lining. It re-injures the gut lining, unfortunately, right? Poison in, it's also a poison coming out. And so there are a lot of ways that the gut gets upset in the process of detoxing nickel. Many people had skin eruptions, that major past eczema that had gone away or was very mitigated came back all of a sudden, because the nickel is in a hurry to get out of your body.
Which is so different than, let's say, the copper or the vitamin A. It's a much slower. You could feel it, but with the nickel, that's why the detox is so like, what? It really happens. It's like the body is just so excited to get it out.
Yeah.
And I felt that I had to drink more water, even though now, I really have to look at, okay, the water, because we talk about one of the biggest sources of nickel is in water, and where that water is stored and how it's stored and how it's made. So if I'm drinking distilled water made by, right now I'm traveling, so I don't have my distiller, but even if I had my distiller, it's stainless steel, and most stainless steel has nickel in it. So if it's sitting in the heat of that, so I feel like I need to get that nickel measuring device where I could actually see, after I distill my water, does it have nickel in it from the container? And the distilled
It
water that you
shouldn't.
buy, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. Yeah, and you're right about needing to prove that, but I've researched that quite a bit because I've got the same
Oh, you
thing
do?
going on. Yeah, distilled water is distilled water, and it doesn't matter the source of it. It's gonna be the same. So it shouldn't matter, but
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
a test would prove
Well,
that.
because they're, yeah, and also because one of the things that we've learned is that drinking water on an empty stomach will make the nickel, I forget what, 40% more absorbable or something like that. I forget, that you absorb it more. So, then you have to think about that, and it's just have to become aware of what you're doing.
Right,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, the horror that came over me when I realized nickel was everywhere. Right? It was in my pots and my pans. It was in my utensils. It was in my distiller. It was,
yeah.
everywhere in my mouth. Luckily, I'd already had the mercury fillings removed, but those mercury amalgams, they're amalgam with nickel. So people have the nickel in their mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got one dear member of the House of Free Will who's acutely aware of that right now. And yeah, that's a relief about the distiller. I hope that's true. The research that I did. So the
Mhm.
test would
Yeah,
definitely be the way to go.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
I really,
But yeah, water, I believe it's because of the divalence of the nickel, meaning it has two positive
uh-huh.
protons, that it's highly reactive with water. So where you store your water, including your pipes. Now we were all flipping out about copper, but the nickel in the water is actually a bigger deal because of its interaction with the water. And so now I have 3 shower filters on my one shower. I bought the first one, I bought the second one, and now I broke down, and I even paid $117 to, I believe it's the Canadian government that charges us tariff on any US products now. Unbelievable. Like, I paid almost as much at the door to our own government. Is that true, or does they send it to the US? I think the tariffs are our own government punishing our own people, I
Yeah.
believe, for
Mm.
shopping in the US. and it's not available. It is the one product we know of that actually removes nickel from the water. So not surprising, that's not easy to come by.
Are you talking about Sante?
Yeah,
San-
Santé for
Sante.
Health, I think is the name of the company. Yeah.
No, it's a really good filter. It really worked well during the hurricane and when I was in Asheville, North Carolina, because the water was just filthy after they turned the water back on. Um, and also I was thinking earrings. See, I'm not wearing earrings. This is like
I know.
Garrett is slowly stripping me of all my all my jewelry. But there's a beauty and a simplicity to it, just like my kitchen is now so bare, I mean, it's just salt. There's no spices in my kitchen. It's just, and the refrigerator is always so airy and fresh, and it's not stuffed with vegetables. I gave up on vegetables, thank God, a long time ago, even just with the oxalates, because I realized, like, oh my gosh, what the hell am I eating this for? But there's a simplification to removing some of these things that feel like they're your part of your everyday. But when you remove them, I feel a lot lighter, and it's so much easier to travel.
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah,
I don't.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great subject. I definitely want to go into that. Is there any more? Do we miss anything on the way that nickel does damage to the body? Not that we have to
Uh,
be what do you call it?
yeah,
So thorough in this, but
yeah, I'd leave that to Garrett. I mean, he's been talking about his theory about its connection to ferritin, and
oh
it just
yes,
has so many layers of it affects your hormones and your dopamine, and all of that is affected by this. As people have experienced when we're nickel dumping, suddenly you drop and you go into a sudden mood change, which may only last an hour or so, but still it's just like, wow, this is what it feels like. um, yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly. I want to get into the weird emotions. The one thing that I found so fascinating is that we have a process called divalent metal transfer. And
Hmm.
if I'm understanding it correctly, it is about moving energy around in the body, and it requires a metal. Now, it requires it so much that it like the beggar can't be a chooser. If it can't access zinc, which is say an ideal metal transfer, then it will
Hmm.
pick up the nickel. And it reminded me so much of a programming, say the program that tells people to want love and approval. It actually feels like that's a good substitute for love, but in reality it's fake love. It's
Yeah,
fake, it's pseudo, right? And that reminded me of this divalent
that's
DMT metal transfer.
That's a brilliant analogy. It's a fake love, and it's like a, duration paradox love. It's like, I'm gonna go yeah, it's kicking the can down the road love, It's like, you're not, it's not gonna end well, but at least get you going. It's a survival strategy. It's all based on, like, the body's doing the best that it can, just like when we mess up in life. We're just doing the best that we can. And you look back and you go, wow, what was I doing?
What was I thinking? Exactly. Like
Yeah.
choosing the bad relationship, thinking that there won't be a good one.
Yeah.
And that you just, that's what you have to, well, I just have to have this. So yeah, the nickel's a bad relationship, let's say, and it doesn't turn out well. Yeah, I can relate. I never thought I would say to anyone or myself that I don't eat vegetables. There's still two. I'm still hooked on celery. I don't care what it has in it. I'm eating that celery. My body likes it. And is it a mental, emotional attachment to a vegetable? I don't know. I also will still eat a potato once in a while. The other night I had it au gratin. Wow. It was just like I was literally rolling my eyes the whole time. So good. I know dairy was something that we would have said bad things about, but compared to nickel, a small amount of dairy for calcium is not nearly as bad as that nickel poisoning would be. And since you brought it up already, one of the things that the nickel harms. Now, I don't know exactly how it would do that, except for the brain, right? When nickel metals get into the brain, it seems like a logical conclusion. They create the strangest emotional experiences when detoxing. Because I've studied this for a lot of years, I've seen a lot of patterns. Almost never does anything come up that I can't compare to, oh yeah, I felt it then, and I felt it then, and I felt it then, and here's, kind of a signature thing. Where nickel emotions are weird. They're like, and they seem to come along with a physical thing. Right now, I've been having a nickel knee. It's not all the time, but later in the night, all of a sudden I go to step up a stair and it's like, bleh. It does this kind of like, no, I don't work,
Mhm.
or I'm busy, or get back with me, I'm not online. And yeah, the emotions, I think there isn't anybody that hasn't expressed a very strange, like feeling weird, feeling off, and struggling with maybe what otherwise might be manageable in their emotions.
Yeah, yeah. I've also had like moments where suddenly I'll experience a pain in some bone, and it's like, oh my God, what is that? Like, what just comes in there? And I feel it must have something to do with whatever the bones have been displaced, like the calcium in the bones might have been displaced, and now it's starting to, and it's a pain and it goes away. And then some other spot will show up. So I just kind of sit through it. And in the moments that it does happen, I just kind of get excited, and I try to focus on like, wow, my body's doing all this stuff and I don't even have to think about it. But it's like to enjoy the fact that there's so much work being done just when you remove the load of toxins from your everyday life, and it's just giving space. It's just
Mhm.
giving your body some room. My favorite analogy is, I just think of it like, we have this amazing castle, which is our body, and then we have all these wonderful hallways, and we have all these maids that are inside cleaning and keeping things clean. And if there's constantly junk coming into the hallways, they have to try to put it somewhere. So they put it into rooms, into drawers, and wherever they can find, and then every room gets full. And then one day suddenly all this junk isn't coming in the hallway, so they can just go, oh, 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 it's quiet. Okay. So they can go into the rooms, open the drawers, pull out the things and go, here, let's get this out. That it's like,
Woo!
that they can, that like, this is what we love cleaning. There's a part of me that loves cleaning too. I so enjoy decluttering.
Mhm.
There's a deep kind of almost primal pleasure in that, of just creating space. So in a way, that's what we're doing with our body, is we're giving it just room to do what it's been dying to do, and or literally sometimes dying to do. Like the last resort. Like, every symptom that shows up is some form of a desperate attempt to detoxify, and then the medical world gives it a label and calls, this is Parkinson's. Oh, and you have cancer, or you have whatever name. But it's just, that's where your body is being brilliant, and it's doing what it can to keep the poisons out of your brain, your heart, and your main organs. But what do we do instead? We get mad and we get disappointed in our body, and we're like, oh, I don't understand, how could this be happening to me? So it's just it's like a little theater show.
Yeah.
With different players.
Yeah, I've loved this point. I'm going to riff on it a little bit because, like Gurdjieff would call this the instinctive center. What you're
Mhm.
describing as the maids in the room and everything. I love that metaphor. It works perfectly. And and the instinctive center does work perfectly on its own compared to the paradigm of biohacking and going in
Mhm.
and trying to interfere with this and that at every turn, when really it is about space. And if you're up to your eyeballs in toxicity, then it's triage. It's like, how do we get her to not die today? And what sacrifice should we make? Oh, the feet are not important anymore, or like the skin is not important. Her kidney's in trouble, or those kind of internal, yeah, those kind of internal decisions. This was a big revelation with the Gurdjieff work for me, that every center has its own, we can't actually manage the instinctive center. This is an illusion. You can interfere with it, you can F it up, but it doesn't require that, and it's not purposed for that. It works all by itself. This is the gift of life that every organic form has been given. And then, like what you said also, then we get mad at our body and we get disappointed about our body. And this is mixing. So taking the emotional center and mixing it in the instinctive center, it doesn't belong there. Right? That's like using the nickel for the zinc in the DMT transfer. It's in a wrong place. So yeah, it is beautiful when you see. I've had those moments where I'm sitting there and there's like a kaboom pain in my gut. I had 2 the other day, and they were maybe about a minute apart, and then it never happened again. And I swear it was some kind of, release of nickel, or could be damage also. You don't know exactly what that is. But having a big emotional response to it is not in your favor. That will confound things. You lose your energy. All the emotions are programmed, and they're coming from fear. So this is a very big point that I wanted to make, because Micah and I are so on this topic. I'm going to let everybody know about the video series that we're doing, that I think you signed up for. I was just looking at the list today. There's actually a lot of interest. I'm so happy, because sometimes you don't know. It's sending a message out into the ethers, and it's like, is anybody out there, or does anybody care? Sometimes I can go into that very false kind of way of perceiving myself. But yeah, so no shortage of weird emotions with the nickel detox. This is something now I'm obsessed with glass. And I don't know if you saw, but I hosted Banjo Glass for an interview last week.
I haven't seen it yet. I have it ready to watch. Yeah.
It's super fun. So he's into the glass, and it's he knows the exact type of glass that we use is borosilicate, meaning it's silicate or silicon. Huh? Okay, I'm out of my range already. But anyway, combination of boron and silicate. What would you? How?
Silica, maybe.
Ka. That's it. It's a ka. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's what glass is. Sand. It's sand.
It's sand. Right. Exactly. It's very plentiful. And so it's not surprising that the one really reliable style of cookware, other than an actual low nickel stainless steel, which there is now because of nickel allergies, quote unquote, is glass. And so as soon as you realize, glass is completely, even though it has boron in it, it's so stable, it doesn't come out when you heat it, right? You'd have to heat it to incredibly high temperatures to turn it into a liquid. And I do recommend that interview. It was so fun and interesting. I'm going to have him on for another show as well. And I have a hidden agenda that he starts some kind of a cottage industry creating glass cookware and beauty ware and things that are, can bring glass into our life because it's so non-toxic.
A glass earring. Let's make glass earrings.
Yes, I was thinking about that. Now I did hear, do you know about what, just since we're talking right now, do you know about silver? Does it also have a toxicity? Say you were able to find pure silver hooks.
I don't think you can have pure silver. I'm not sure about that. You have to mix it with something, I think. I know the gold too, you have to mix with usually, is it copper that you mix with gold?
Well, guess what white gold is nickel and gold.
Yeah, white gold is nickel and gold. Now, titanium too. I mean, I love my titanium. It's a work of art, my pan. So I wonder how titanium would be like to make, like the post for an earring.
Oh, yes, yes, we need some of those. So we're calling on all the jewelers and the glass makers and everything right now to innovate, entrepreneurs.
We want to be beautified.
We want to be beautified, and I had to go to the end of the earth for my glass cookware. I used Marketplace to get one piece at a time. I did actually finally find at the very end. I found because my missing piece was a skillet. Without a skillet, it's so limiting what you can cook. Like try to cook a steak in a pot. It just doesn't go well at all. And so I was able to find this new collection piece by piece of all this cookware. Now I make my rice in glass in the oven, and I got my nice pots. They're beautiful. They're easy to clean, and I eat out of them half the time because I just if I'm one person, yeah,
I eat out of my titanium. I mean, this is all I use. This isn't it
nice.
beautiful?
It is
And
beautiful. Yeah,
I make my rice in it. You can cook steak in it, or I just put meat in it and some water, and it has a beautiful cover. And I eat from it too. So it's just save time, save.
exactly. Yeah. I'll just see. Lisa's saying that the connection is choppy. Are you guys hearing us okay, or would that be maybe on her side? Just let me know. I don't know if I could do anything. Looks like I have full connection. I see Dagmar perfectly, so I think it might be
I have full
on your.
connection too.
Yeah. Oh, Veronica's asking, hello, Veronica. Nice to see you. What about a good clay pot? So interesting. Clay,
Um,
when it's
yeah.
fired, that would be the question. Clay, when it's fired, might very well, because it does turn into, it has a glass like, say, in every glaze has borosilicate in the glaze, it turns to glass. That's why it creates a permeable um, barrier. If it was the raw clay or the unfired, unglazed clay, then it might very well leach out. And nickel, I think nickel will be in it. I have to guess because it's so ubiquitous
Cadmium.
in the earth. Cadmium.
Cadmium tends to be in it, and also radioactivity, depending on where it's coming from. So yeah, clay things are kind of not as secure.
Right, right. Yeah, so I'm not sure about that, but I imagine if it's glazed, well glazed and sealed, that it would be fine in that from my research anyway. So yeah, that I was just going to say also that because you cannot buy the glassware anymore commercially, the what do you call them, collectors, the sellers, they know the value. This is not cheap second handing to go and find. They knew that their little casserole dish was worth $60 or $70 here. So yeah, it wasn't a cheap move, but I'm pretty happy. And now I boxed up all my stainless steel, even though those were considered very good, expensive pots too. That's disappointing, I have to say. But yeah, titanium I think is a very good alternative. And so we talked a little bit about the biochemistry and anything more about how it compares with other toxic metals. Say
Um,
like lead is the main one I grew up with. That they
mhm.
switched from lead pencils to graphite pencils because lead was so dangerous. And
And it still is.
and it still is.
Does
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
it doesn't change that, but at least people are talking about it. But it's all just kind of hype, like lead free, all this stuff. It's the it, it's just a way to make more money and have something cost more. They don't really care. I don't think they really care that much about it, because I wonder if all that lead paint that and the chips that children ate and suffered from, I wonder if there was nickel in there too, and what else was in there. They picked lead. you know it's such a random game. And I think that there is something going on with the fact that nobody's talking about this nickel, and the fact that it's in fertilizers, and the fact that it's used with glyphosate, and that it's in glyphosate. I mean, all of that is like, wow, that was quite the shocker. So all your organic vegetables that you're eating, you're getting nickeled. And I said this before on your show, but we're so focused on the pesticides and the organic, but really nobody focuses on the pesticide that the actual food is itself, whether it's organic or not. People don't look at garlic as a insecticide, you know. So they think like, oh, but it's organic garlic. Like, yeah, I used to eat
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. Oh my, I've eaten my weight in garlic several times. Yeah, insanity, and yeah, and then most metals are also an alloy, right? So I think the nickel ends up hidden from us when they call it lead, or they call it silver, or they call it gold. They're not
Mhm.
exposing the way that nickel is a stabilizer. That's why I did some research one night, and like, why is nickel everywhere? It's because it's a very stable metal. It does structurally make sense that our steel girders are huge in the metal component because it makes a building stand. And so this is important, and it's not the baby in the bathwater here to try to remove nickel from our societies. It's just that the degree to which we are inundated with it in our foods, in the earth, even, are the plants literally trying to clean the earth? Is that why they can hyper accumulate it?
How I see it. I see that the plants are completely the masters of the planet, that they want us, weak, poison, dead, that, and then they're the ones who they're focused on their job, which I think is to clean the earth. Why would different plants want to absorb different metals? And then these poor animals, they eat them, and we get the blessing of eating the animal who has detoxified some of the worst things in the plants, and it's in the animal's liver, and we get to eat their muscle meat. I mean, it's a it's like, in order to eat this way, you do have to be aware of all the different qualities that are in you, because if you're not, like people who don't want to eat meat, you have to embrace that there is a part of us that wants to survive, that is a predator inside, and
Right.
and and to make peace with that, and to not just be mortified and want to be like the do-gooder who's never gonna harm a fly. I mean, I don't know, maybe it sounds callous for me to say it like that, but I feel that we have something to give, and if we want to give it, we need to be fully present here. And when our chemistry and we feel like crap inside, it's really hard to give our best and highest, when we're in that kind of a state where our body can't keep up with our spiritual desires, to live and to create and to make beautiful things in the world.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we are part of a food chain, and back to the work of Gurdjieff, he explains this in a beautiful way that is so realistic, and it blows all of those, like, oh, I'm not going to harm that thing so I can be nourished. It's like, no, no, that's how the cosmos work. It is, we are not the top of the food chain by any stretch of the imagination. By the way, that's is a very humbling and beautiful in and of itself. And this is the design of this cosmos, that we are preparing to eat, and we are preparing to be eaten. Right? In this world, Gurdjieff says we are food for the moon. And this is when people are in a mechanical state and always only ever being run from their unconscious, never applying their own consciousness and growing their own essence, that can decide, do I want to be moon food today? Do I want to have a tantrum and feed the moon? Or am I going to deal with this hard experience inside myself instead? And so, yeah, I found that incredibly enlightening and humbling. And then you can turn around, and instead of hating that, because that's, I think, what people hate is like, oh, the if you discover the moon's feeding on you and then you hate the moon, it's like, no, no, you're feeding the moon with that. You're just right in the pocket of that, and turning it around. I love it. It's very humbling. And then you even feel like, oh, you're serving, you're giving. Like, the earth is ultimately eating us, right? It wants us. It's going to get us sooner or later. It's going to get every single one of us, and every cell, all of us, right? So we're being eaten in this realm. And then, yeah, it makes me much more at peace with the miracle of being able to eat an animal's, particularly muscle flesh, where they don't store the toxins. Right?
Mhm.
This is amazing. That's why everybody who spent their whole life eating meat in a traditional diet, and it wasn't even organic, and then they didn't just drop dead, right?
Mhm.
You know, my parents' meat and potatoes diet now is like, oh, you guys are kind of onto it in that respect.
Yeah,
They had,
and
yeah,
it's a very new thing for people to eat the rainbow and have a plate full of colorful things. Like in Czechoslovakia also, it was nobody thought like, oh, I need to put a salad on my what the hell. The only salad you would ever eat would be in the summer when there were cucumbers, and you'd slice up cucumbers with and you'd make a, put some yogurt on it or something, and that would be like in a European restaurant back in the day, in the 60s, 70s. That would be the only salad you would ever get. It was never leafy things. Like, what? It's
I know.
so modern to think that that's like, and I see whenever I go out, it's just being this way of eating is just so, it's amazing when you go out to a farmer's market or to a restaurant or to a store and you see people just collecting every green thing because they're so wanting to do something good for them. And they figured, this must be the answer. This is what I'm gonna feel better. And then you sometimes see them and they are like so undernourished or incredibly overweight.
Mhm.
Either one of those. It depends what food they're comforting themselves with, or what information their brain has wrapped itself around with. But you just kind of, I just feel like I go, bless your heart. Like
Yeah,
do in the South. I just try to be like, we all have our path, and that's how there's never a crowd on the edge. you
exactly.
know
Yeah, two things about that. My son, when he was young, I would force him to eat leafy greens. And he's like, Mom, why do you make me eat leaves? Right? He knew. He knew like that. And he finally kind of succumbed when I would force him, but he knew that. Let's see if I remember the second one. I don't off the top of my head, but Veronica was asking, hello, JJ Hempcrete Bear. Nice to see you, by the way. And she was asking about cast iron. So this was everybody's first conclusion about the switch off. And it unfortunately is not good because you get heat, you get water, and you get iron, and you get rust.
you get rust. Yeah.
You get rust. It's inevitable. It doesn't matter how good care of your pans you take. The moment you don't season it, you can see that rust. And so that's very not healthy, unfortunately. Um, Gabby was saying progression from Teflon to stainless steel, some cast iron, and now glass. You hope this is it. Yeah, exactly. I hope I'm done too, Gabby. Exactly. That's how many times can you swap it out? We all knew about Teflon and all that kind of thing. I did manage to get a glass air fryer, but of course, the air fryer part is Teflon, meaning they give you a little plate so that you can make crispy things. I figured out pretty quickly that I don't want crispy food. Crispy food is overcooked. I don't want crispy meat or rice or anything like that. I did a crispy chicken. Bleh. I totally didn't even like it. And I was able to find because you getting the air underneath the food is good for the bake feature. So it cooks at a much lower temperature. Yeah, it's double the time like a normal oven would be. But getting the heat under the food is very efficient. And so I got another thing that's not Teflon. It is stainless steel, but it's much less metal. So the contact with the food is very spare. And so, and this brings us to one of the themes that you talked about at the beginning. If you get obsessive about trying to get no nickel in your diet or never, some people were like, oh, I'm never touching a fork again, or I'm going to touch it all with a cloth before I open the door or stir my pot, I'm going to protect, and then you're in the realm of neuroticism, unfortunately. And this is not a judgment in any way. It means you're going to be sick in your mind and your heart from that. If you're afraid of every little thing that's going to touch your body. So it's a kind of fine line. I can take off my jewelry. I don't mind, like, if you guys aren't scared to see me without jewelry. I used to like that. I used to like, I thought, little bling might brighten things up or something like that. But yeah, I'm still wearing some eyeshadow for my streams, because I think you will be scared if you think I don't have eyebrows and eyelashes. But you know what I heard from Micah yesterday? They're just coming back from Italy, and the vendors, like the regular street vendors, are promoting nickel-free jewelry and nickel-free makeup.
What?
You want to go to Italy?
Yeah, let's go. Seriously? Wow, that's interesting.
So
That
they're
is so
already onto it.
uh-huh. Well, and another example of how they're onto it is they know that pectin, I'm sure they must know that pectin helps to remove nickel.
Okay.
Because they have these lollipops and cough drops that have been around forever that that are basically pectin, and they're for sore throats. Like,
Right.
what is the pectin doing? It's not like some mint or something that's killing bacteria. No, the pectin is just absorbing the nickel, so it soothes your throat. So if they are making these products already, they're out there like, hello. So they know, they must know.
Yeah. Yeah. They
Whatever.
must know. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So that's in the realm of binders, and of all of the binders, charcoal does seem to bind some nickel, but it depends on that it's in your gut.
Yeah.
And that's only one of our problems. So it's that the nickel is in the blood. It's broken the gut blood barrier. And then so it's actually modified pectin for anybody that wants to know, how can you help yourself on this journey. And the pectin itself would work in the gut, but it's modified pectin that
Modified
cleans
citrus
in
pectin.
particular. Right. Apple pectin is more like, say, about pooping, which is always good. That's one of the problems, that the low nickel diet practically removes all of your fiber. This was the biggest shock to me of my life, because I traveled to India and Nepal. I would criticize them openly for only having white rice. I was like, what is wrong with you guys? Where's the brown rice? Don't you know this is so unhealthy? And
Right.
they had it right all along. They knew that those
The
whole
whole
grains.
world knew. The whole world knew, except for the alternative health movement then created back in the 60s, like everything, whole wheat, brown rice, whole everything, rye, nothing refined. Refined is bad. And now I'm seeing how refined is, like, I'm doing refined coconut oil, I'm doing refined shea butter. The refining removes some of the main poisons, and that's the same thing with the citrus pectin. It is modified. So because I was like, oh my God, citrus, what am I going to be doing eating? I don't eat, because it's very high in vitamin A, in carotenoids, which turns into A. And now I'm like, oh, I see. Yeah, same thing with the salt. We're doing a naturally refined salt, not a chemically refined salt, but we're removing all the crap that people want to get rid of. And so they turned it into a very great business, that all those things like whole wheat, it's so much easier to do whole wheat than it is to refine it. So it's all like a big business. Get your fiber today. All the commercials about, like, you don't want your father to die, well, make him eat I forget what, some nuts cereal they call it. I forget what they call grape nuts, grape nuts cereal.
Right.
It's gonna keep his heart healthy. I'm like, wow, it's just amazing how it does connect to commerce and it isn't necessarily related to health. And if you look at white rice for centuries, that's what they did in China and Japan and all the countries. Except here, we started like brown rice.
I know exactly. It's so embarrassing now. They what they managed to do is sell us the garbage, right?
Well,
The brand cereals,
mm,
this elevation of all of this fiber, as if it's the reason that your body will go to the bathroom, which is sort of true for those types that need the bulldozer effect. But for the most
mhm,
part, your body's ability to eliminate and the health of the gut is based on its, the biome that are alive because the right food is in there that they
mhm.
can live on. Right. So yeah, they found a way to sell us all the garbage.
Like
And like
fluoride,
you said, like fluoride.
also garbage. I mean,
Right.
they're turning, or like the coconut shells that are moldy, and they make them into charcoal. And you cannot. You know how hard I had to search Amazon to get hardwood charcoal or bamboo. There was only one of each. Everything else was coconut, coconut, coconut. This is like when they started the coconut craze, they had tons of coconut shells. What to do with these moldy coconut shells? So they thought,
Right.
oh, we can make charcoal and make money, so and sell you garbage.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. As a new mom, I definitely poisoned my son with brown rice, and he paid the price for that. I learned soon, but not soon enough. So yeah, it's crazy. Protein powders, another selling us their garbage. It's a
Oh my God.
theme. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't have to pay to throw it out anymore, right? They can
Yeah.
just some people say that the lines in the sky are the same. They're not actually as heinous as we think they are. They just don't want to pay to put that stuff in the ground, so they would rather fly a drone and release it in the air. Now, chances are that's pretty high in nickel too.
I think Garrett said that there is nickel in those. There's definitely nickel, aluminum, strontium. Uh, I forgot what else. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's.
calcium carbonate.
Oh
Do you
yeah,
remember that
calcium
from way back
carbonate.
in there? Yeah, yeah.
Yep,
Why it's
yep, yeah.
all, yeah, yeah. You can really see that. I swear I can see it on the outside when it falls down as well. And I've got a glass black table outside, and it shows
And
every little speck of dust.
I was literally going to say how that's part of why, like Los Angeles, where I'm right now, was never this dusty. I saw
Ah,
it, and I'm in the country. I'm in Topanga, so I mean, because I lived here back in the '90s too. So the amount of dust, so-called dust, is insane. And same
wow.
thing in even North Carolina. So this what we call dust. No, it's particulates in the air that are trying to, from the things that they're spraying. Um, it's it's intense. It's intense. Like, I
Wow.
think that we all need to have an air filter in the house. I don't have one now, but it's otherwise, if you don't get a filter, you become the filter. And just the thought of seeing, like, all the people who are living in cities, we're cleaning the air by breathing it, just like the plants are cleaning the soil by pulling out the heavy metals, you
Exactly.
know.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
it's
Yep.
it's a miracle we live however long we live.
It is a miracle. I know that's a testament to the human spirit. Absolutely. I just want to see if there's anything that we didn't really talk about yet, and we can just keep on riffing.
Yeah, look at your list because that was a really good list. Uh,
So yeah, the pathways that nickel exits, the main ones tend to be the lungs. Are like they talk about a nickel cough, that some people when they started to detox right away developed a cough. I think it's like a dry cough or something like that. I didn't myself get that.
I got it. I got it.
You
Because I don't
did?
have my tonsils. And
Ah,
tonsils is where huge nickel storage is in tonsils. So in a way, when you remove them, you do take out a big clump of nickel, but then you have nothing else to keep catching it and building and holding it there. So I definitely got the nickel cough as I lowered my nickel. But thank God I lowered it really slowly, unbeknownst to me. I didn't start when Garrett said, when he brought this up, I started unconsciously because I was removing all the oxalates. So I was lowering it very significantly.
right.
So yeah, but still I got the, the cough, the nickel cough.
Right, right. And yeah, on that point, just in case it's not very emphasized, is that knowing what I know now, I also instinctively was reducing my nickel. I didn't want. I was still eating beans, but I wasn't eating gobs of beans, like a whole portion of beans. It was a smattering of beans. I was still eating the whole grains, but I would always swap them out for the at least white rice kind of thing. There was always this little dance between them. I didn't know why. I was just doing that instinctively. My body was telling me. And then so when it
Mhm.
came time to let them go, then it wasn't as much, but still it was a very dramatic thing. Like right away I'm like, okay, I can let go of the beans. The whole grains was slower because then I'm like, where do my carbs come from? That was the hard part. I can only eat so many apples and bananas. And now you take away my spelt that I thought was like the end of the earth, the best ever. I actually lust for white spelt flour. It does exist, but only in the US. And I don't want to order mail order
Really?
flour. Yeah.
White spelt flour exists?
Yes. Yeah. I did
Oh,
find a source in the US. Yeah. Yeah. There was one
wow.
company. Yeah. But so it took me a while to find an undisclosed location to pick up my unrefined, unfortified, and oh no, yeah, pardon me, refined, unfortified white wheat flour here, which I got. I just got a 40-pound bag today. That's like amazing. See if I
Was
can get it
it
up the stairs.
was it the one from Italy?
No, this is local. I won't buy flour on the internet. What if it shows up and it's rancid, which is very common for badly stored flour.
Shit, I just realized I'm storing mine in my car and it's hot in there because I bought it here. Oh, okay. After this, I gotta go get it out.
I bet you want to run right now, don't you?
I do, I do. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, yeah, but the beauty is white flour goes rancid much more slowly than brown
Yeah.
flour. It's the bran that goes rancid, and all the oils are in the bran, right? The oils
Mhm.
also are going to have all of the fat soluble toxins. So you can see how this was again very smart to refine the flour,
Mhm.
refine the grain kind of thing, right? So like, oh my goodness. Yeah, we were duped. So the natural health people have a lot of knocks against us. And let's see. So yeah, the advice, if anybody is one of those DIY early adopters, like you just hear something true and then you go and you do it, I would do this very slowly. Because the big reactions that I had from simply taking out beans and then a little bit later, simply taking out the whole grains, a little bit later, swapping all my cookware for glass, not huge changes, and then not wearing jewelry was another change. And I would have a kaboom effect. It'd be like everything, showstopper, knocked out, confused emotionally, all weirded out, and yeah. So I think the slower the better.
And also, you can do it that way, slow with nothing. You can go into it unprotected, as Garrett says, naked, step right in, or you can. He's recommending, and I think that's a great recommendation, to for a month first take the modified citrus pectin, which is it's called Pectasol, or Pectaclear, but so that you prepare your body for this journey and start getting some of the things out. And one of the things I just want to also mention, the distinction between the binders. So we have the apple pectin, or just apples, eating apples, but I would peel them, because of all the stuff they put on it, here, even organic. So we have apples, and we have zeolite, and we have charcoal, and now we also have alginate. So these are binders, but they only bind in the intestines, in your gut. So the pectasol and the modified citrus pectin, what makes it so unique and powerful as a part of this journey, if you want to make it easier, because you can rough it, if you don't have the money and it's still, you can do this, but so much better with the pectasol, which goes into the bloodstream. So you're getting all the nickel or whatever else has made it through the bile. It made it somehow ended up in your bloodstream, because you have some form of cholestasis, which is, some damage in your liver or overflow. So this way you're getting both angles. And this is what I'm seeing with this modified citrus pectin. Totally different experience of how my body, like now when I take zeolite, and the pectasol, it's like they're dancing together. So my body feels a lot more room, because I can address it. If I get a little tiny cramp, I know that, too much bile coming out. So I take the pectasol and the zeolite, and it calms it down. Or if I get a sore throat, which you would think like, what does taking zeolite have to do with a sore throat? Well, everything. Any symptom to me is my body saying, I'm working too hard. Can you help? But I don't want to stop working. So just there is something out there that Garrett has found. Well, really, Kelsey, Kelsey is the chemistry queen, the researcher, the I don't know, she's just such an explorer, and so humble, and just, such a human being, that, I'm deeply grateful for her knowledge of chemistry, and that she has gone down these rabbit holes, which it would have taken me, maybe never to follow and find. So there is something, though, to remember, that there is something, especially if you're older. If you're young, you could probably rough it, even though some of the young people in the program, they've been having a hard time too. But your body can handle, your kidneys can take a little bit more of a beating. But when you're older, it's good to have the support, and we're blessed to have it. So
yeah.
Make that distinction between the blood and the intestines.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can rough it and do it without any support. Like the first people who were doing the low nickel were a couple of Garrett's contacts on Twitter, of all places. And shout out to Ida. I've no idea if she's around these parts at all, but she just suddenly went on the low nickel and healed all her eczema. She's like, aha, because she wasn't, she got some results with Garrett, but she didn't go all the way, especially with her skin. So she comes waving the flag and like, hey, you guys, nickel. And Garrett was right on it, and Kelsey was right on it. And Kelsey got slammed, like in terms of the backlash of the detox. It was a shock to all of us. We're lying on the floor going, what happened? Got nickeled, kind of thing. And then so the Pectasol and Pectaclear, they are excellent products. They are so expensive. It's really hard. I drove to the border for it one time. I got slammed at the border. They charged me a tariff anyway, so there's no point in doing that. I did find, I think, thanks to one of the Love Your Liver members, a site called iHerb something that ships to Canada for free. So they have Pectasol and Pectaclear, and then I got a subscription, and you get a little savings from that, because I'm going to stay on this for probably, I don't know, maybe 4, 6, even 8 rounds. Just
Mhm.
really, because yeah, there's how much downtime do people have? This is like,
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, not a luxury necessarily. And Miss Jackie K is asking for a few more likes, please. Thank you so much, Jackie K. Thank you, everyone, for being here. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, just for fun, do that and see what happens. I've literally flatlined on this channel. That YouTube is either suppressing it, or literally nobody is coming to this channel, or both. And yeah, like literally the dial doesn't move one little iota. So just for fun, if there's 10 entire people that subscribe today, then I can see if YouTube is just messing with me. And yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I just thought of one other thing about the vitamin A, because I've been doing the low vitamin A, and I noticed that once I was on it for like a year and a half, and I would eat some high vitamin A stuff. I still didn't do well with it, but since I've gone low nickel, I'm now able to add a little bit of high A foods, and I don't have any of the same reaction that I used to have. So I can do a little bit of cottage cheese again, and a little bit of cheese too. Like I get the whitest cheese there is, because the lighter, or the whitest butter, because the lighter it is, the less A it has in it. So, but I'm just surprised. I was like, wow. I wonder, the dance between the nickel and the vitamin A, I feel like that's going to really affect how everything kind of falls into place. So I'm curious what my next blood test will be, because I don't like to guess. I like to test.
Yeah, exactly. No, I went into complete cognitive dissonance when I started learning about nickel, because my brain is now tuned into low vitamin A, and not just A, but copper and oxalates and other things like that. But you know, I couldn't at first reconcile the two systems. But Garrett saw very quickly that nickel went to the top of the line, or front of the line in terms of levels of toxicity and
Mhm.
and poison and everything like that. So it has changed the paradigm. Now that we've done 6 hours worth of introductory videos over on his channel, and then nickel comes along. So poor guy, we're probably going to have to redo that to
Oh, please redo those. Yeah,
I'm
because
down.
because I think that would be so awesome to you did such a great job interviewing him. So that those 3 videos that you guys did really laid the foundation in a much better way than the previous ones. But now to include this, it's a whole other game, And like you
Exactly.
were joking when you found out about the nickel, you were like, Jesus, I can't now introduce this diet to anybody.
I know. I'm
Because they're
still I'm still a little bit, this is the first
yeah,
time being public about it
I know,
since. and
I know. So I'm
and
glad
how
we're doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know offhand how long ago it was that Garrett first brought this up? It's more than a month now, maybe 6 weeks.
I think it's about 6 weeks now.
Okay.
Quite
Okay.
quite the whirlwind 6 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been really packed, exactly, and he's recommending a 90-day, pretty strict diet. Do you wanna talk about the diet a little bit? Like, Love Your Liver was already pretty narrow, let's say, right? That
Well,
eliminated a
but
lot of foods.
I'll introduce this by saying, and this I love this. I joke and I say I eat like a dog, um, because I see animals. You can give them the same food, and in nature, if they're wild, a dog is a domestic, but wild animals, they don't eat a whole variety of things. Each animal has its own, and that's how. So for me, this is it no longer feels restrictive, because we use so much monosodium glutamate, that's MSG. And I only put it on the foods that I want to keep repeat eating. So I'm kind of attached to, so I create a bond with it. So the diet for me, I think I pretty much eat maybe only about 12 foods or something like that. It's white rice, white flour, white flour that's refined but not fortified, apples, bananas, beef, turkey, chicken, and some low-fat cottage cheese and some cheese, small amounts. And I think that's kind of. Is there anything else that and no, I don't think so.
That's
I
amazing.
probably do this more intensely, especially because I'm traveling, so it's so much easier to have just have my staple foods. My big bowl of apples is right here. Got my bananas. If I need a snack, what's in my refrigerator? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's crazy. I never thought I was the queen of the variety. I needed to have 50 to 75 ingredients on one plate, even if it, just small amount of this spice and that thing. Like you said, now it's salt and MSG included. Thank God that makes the food so delicious. And
Yeah.
yeah. Do you know anything, by the way, hello to Patricia. Thank you so much for the kind comments. I appreciate having you here and you saying that. Tell all your friends although if your friends aren't weird like you, then they might not get it. So, and I was just going to ask, do you know anything about wild meat? I was going to buy a whole bunch of elk from the back end of yeah.
Yeah, here's
And
here's my thoughts on wild meat, because normally I'm in North Carolina, and there's a lot of deer there, and people shoot them, eat them, turn them into meat,
venison
but
burgers.
venison burgers, whatever. But a lot of what they're calling, if it really is wild meat and they get it out in the wild, you don't know what they're eating out there. They could be eating all the neighbors' Cheerios that the Fruit Loops that they put in bowls on for wild animals. Or we have North Carolina, they put out like the cheapest, worst corn, tons of it all over the neighborhood for the deer to eat. So it's not really wild meat. I think you're better off with some place that is like grass fed, at least, so they have some control over, because I don't know, unless you go somewhere truly isolated from humanity and somebody's going over there, killing the wild, truly wild animals, then it would be wild meat. But I don't think you could buy that. So I'm
Right,
suspicious.
exactly. I'm
That's
suspicious too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah, elk is considered more wild than deer. Like deer are practically domestic. They would come in my
yeah,
house and have a sleep if I would let them. They'd eat out of my hand. They eat out of my garden. We definitely need to be culling them. I don't know why there's no idea. And then elk is considered much more wild. But how could they have, like mega packs of elk burgers without some reliable source? So back
yeah.
to what you're saying, right? That there
So
must be
they could
some
just
kind of
be feeding them whatever they want, but they call it wild. They're not calling it organic. They're calling it wild.
right,
But
which
you
probably
don't know.
gets them, yeah, which probably gets them out of all kinds of regulations in the process.
Yeah,
Wild also was
it's,
propagated in the natural health world, right? That it was so healthy to
yeah,
eat wild, and it can be the worst of all because there's no control, like you say, over the inputs. They eat
yeah.
anything. Yeah.
Or what do they call that? Forest grazing, or just like picking, food
Foraging.
from the foraging, right? Foraging. Like, oh boy, the wilder it is, the more poisonous it is, because it means it had to do more to survive. It had stronger survival strategies, which means it has stronger poisons. It got things away not eat it. So that's it. Like, okay, go for it.
I know. I had this fantasy when the pandemic hit and they were threatening us that the grocery stores were going to be empty and the trucks won't come anymore. And then I'm like, that's okay. I'm going to eat grass. I'm going to go under the bridges and I'm going to get grass and I'm going to juice it and I'm going to live forever.
That's funny.
Kaboom,
Now,
right? It would have
yeah,
died quick.
exactly. Now, I want to say, like, some of the things that I cook, because I too, like you, I was a major, and I still have all these videos up. I still have to do my mea culpa video where I let people know that please don't eat the things that I was telling you to eat before, because I was doing all these gourmet things, gourmet raw chocolate, gourmet, all kinds of greens and colorful and blueberries and, like sauces and things. But so now what I'm making, it's so simple, and I just want to share it and get, because sometimes just knowing what other people are doing, you kind of go like, oh, maybe I could do that, which is really fast, especially if you have a family and big, kids and a lot of people to feed. I just make a bunch of white rice that I have in the refrigerator, and then I take some ground beef and I put it with a little bit of water and some MSG and some of the clean salt that we use, the Jacobson salt, and I even put some potassium chloride in there.
Mhm,
And
me
then
too.
and it's just like you're cooking it in, I used to fry all these things, but I'm going, why fry it? It's so much faster. And you just basically make like as if you're making tacos or something, right? With just water, no need for any other thing. And then you put the rice right in there and you mix it. And with the MSG, it's an incredibly easy, fast, delicious meal that you could have once or twice a day. And then for special desserts, I just take some apples, chop them up, and put a little bit of cottage cheese and mix it. So it kind of it's like a dessert treat. Very simple. But when you don't eat a whole bunch of other things, like that little thing with some dairy in it and an apple is like, wow, this is amazing.
I know, I know. I
You
really
know.
thought I was gonna have to give up food pleasure by going the LYL path, never mind the low nickel path. It was just like, "Oh, hang my head." But I enjoy 95% of my meals. Every so often, there's something like, "Okay, yeah, I'm just eating it to get nourished." But I'm really genuinely enjoying it. And you know what? My newest, one of my favorite, I still consider it a little bit of a treat, but pancakes with
Mhm.
the
Oh.
refined unfortified flour are low nickel.
Will
And
you send me a recipe for
yes,
pancakes?
yes. Yeah, I have on my Telegram channels, I have two admins and they're pancake pushers. And they also are low nickel. They're low nickel, so they're hip to it, and, yeah, it was so fun. One night, they stalked me, and they put a picture of pancakes on every single one of my groups. There's a whole bunch of them, and, they were trying to pressure me, and she gave me the recipe, and she's like, "You're gonna make them right now, right?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't have an egg." She goes said, "Go to your neighbor and get an egg. You can get an egg." She's telling me. And now so I'm hooked on these pancakes, and they're very good. It's a bulk recipe so that they're ready for you. You have it all mixed, and then you can whip it together really quickly and throw it in the glass pan, and then I'll have it
Oh,
for a few days.
oh,
So yeah,
cool.
yeah, I'll have them like I'll make them at night, and I'll eat one or two, and then I'll have them in the fridge. And then I had a cheeseburger on a pancake, so good.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah. I forgot one other food that I have in there. It's like the avocado mayonnaise. That really, small amounts of the avocado oil is fine. But you can make your own flatbread, or here in California, you can get organic, unfortified white flour, a flat bread, and I put like turkey in there, some mayonnaise, a little bit of cheese, roll it up, and you can travel with that. You can just stick that in your bag. Or if you go to a restaurant, like yesterday, I went with some friends to a restaurant, a Korean restaurant, and I look at going to restaurants, either I bring my food or I just drink. I look at it as a drinking opportunity, and I just drink Pellegrino, or something like that. But they were serving steaming hot barley tea in these stainless steel cups,
Mm.
and they were cooking on this big stainless steel, and it was just like all the wagyu beef, like tons of fat, and everything was red and full of spice and burning, and and just even smelling it, I had absolutely zero desire to want to eat that. because and the garlic smell coming off of it, it was just like, oof. So I didn't feel like I was missing anything, I don't. It just was perfect. And my friends already know they don't feel weird, eating whatever they want to eat around me. They just know that I usually have eaten, or I'll pull something out of my bag.
Right, there you go. Yeah, I had a friend, dear friend, that she might even hear this, that when we went low A originally, there was I guess three of us from the farm. She said she would feel sad for us every time we ate. And I had to get over that for a little while because I didn't feel sad. I felt good. I felt nourished and full, and I was detoxing and everything. So, and you know what I was really tuning into recently? Just it's back to fat and the low A, because the fat has a lot of the toxins in it that are fat soluble. That's how our bodies deal with that. And now when I get fat in my mouth, I clearly register toxicity. It's like, get that out. And it used to be the party line was meat tastes good because of fat. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, as a matter of fact, I love the meat. When I get that fat in my mouth, it tastes like garbage. And I'm like, get it out as fast as I can. It's like, ooh, something wrong happened. So yeah, that's a total turnaround.
Yeah. Oh, so many things turn around. I mean, I can't believe I stopped eating nuts. I thought that would never happen.
Right. But the
I can't believe stopped eating chocolate, which was like I was the gourmet queen of
right.
chocolate.
Exactly. Yeah. So speaking of pushers, one day, Dagmar, you are so generous, and you sent me some macadamia nuts from California, which it turns out are about 100% different than the ones we get in, our regular stores. And there's no real organic nuts out there. They all lie. It's going to be at an organic store, and it's not organic anyway.
Yeah.
They're all rancid, right? They're almost always or on the edge of death. And the ones you sent me were so amazing. Now, my research says macadamias are low nickel.
What?
Yes.
Wait a second, because I have I have not touched mine since I went low nickel. I have them here. I know that they're low. Definitely there's no A or copper in them, but I thought that they were high nickel.
Okay.
Oh.
It's possible, like the research can be different from place to place, and the land can be different from place to place. But this is one of the things that I've still kept in, about maybe a quarter cup of macadamias in my diet every
Oh,
day. So yeah,
okay. Okay. You're
yeah.
living it. You still have those, the ones that I sent you?
Nope, nope. And I won't beg to send more before you leave California.
Oh, well, I'd be happy to send you more nuts.
It's so funny. I'm like, I am ruined forever. As soon as I started eating them, it's like, that's it. I still have humbly gone back to Costco's version, but yeah, no, those are amazing. Did you know, by the way, that Joel Schaefer, have you heard of him? He's in Topanga. You should look that guy up. He's so cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I
yeah,
will.
yeah. And
Okay,
then meet
while
us
I'm
in
here.
Eureka. We're going to be in Eureka in August. He's running a retreat just outside of Eureka, between,
Oh,
I think it's Arcata and Eureka,
uh-huh.
California,
When is this?
in the redwoods. It's August 22 to 24, 3 days,
I'll be
3-day
I'll be
retreat.
back I'll be back on the East Coast. Are you coming out here?
I am, yes.
Oh, darn
We're
it.
already booked. I know we're already booked. And yes, Joel is great. Good morning, Lunarverse. Nice to see you. So yeah, there's a group of 9 of us going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
man,
insane.
I
I
thought
know,
you
I know. Yeah, I know, right, the right, the right thing at the wrong time, eh? Just yeah, darning.
No, I'll get to you
One way
somehow.
or another, we
It's
have a will.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
have a will. Exactly, yeah. Um, and then Jackie said, "Just as well, most is lab-grown cocoa." Yeah, I have so lost my
Yeah.
taste. I actually register chocolate as a poison now. When I taste it,
Me
it's like, that's wrong. There's something wrong there. I can still like maple syrup. That's not hard to like, but
Is
chocolate,
maple
yeah.
syrup maple syrup is high in A, is it? Or
Good point. I bet the refined stuff is better for you. So
yeah, yeah.
like a doorknob, I would always buy the lower grade that's more expensive because the natural health world clued in that we wanted
Yeah,
this
yeah,
unrefined,
the darker I think it was David Wolf who started this whole thing. The darker the thing, the more minerals it has. So we always try to get
Exactly.
that, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it could very well have nickel, and that's why I won't have any of that every day. Like I won't have potatoes every day. I won't have maple syrup. That'll just be far and few between.
And
And
honey too, honey was something that I kind of would do more, but now I let that go during this process, unless I do some little bit of honey with ginger if I have a upset, if all my other things don't work. But yeah, the honey, because you don't know where that's the pollen, the pollen has the A and the nickel, so you don't know how much pollen is in each honey. So
yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's what Garrett said at the beginning. Like, on the other side of this, you can, and he'll always say, you can do whatever you want. This isn't a rule system. This isn't like if you don't do the right thing, you won't be able to be around us or anything. Like, that's why it's not a cult in that respect. You do what you want. But if
mhm,
he calls it gaming the system. Now, I also go back to the evidence that when I even reduced, I started to detox. So
mhm,
there's something about reduction. You can't
mhm.
eliminate totally, but what's the sweet spot for your body? What's the timing that it's manageable for you? So when you detox, you're not feeling like totally overwhelmed or you're totally out. I could actually work through all of it, even though there were intense times and intense. For a while, I didn't sleep well again. I'm like, oh my god, not yeah, right, because I've learned to sleep fantastically and miraculously so in the last couple of years. So
Yeah,
yeah,
me.
that's good. That's good. Yeah, I
You
never
know,
thought that would happen.
do people ever ask you, they go like, "Oh, I know you can't have this." And I go, "No, I can have it. I just don't want to." And that's the
Right.
thing, is that with Garrett's work, if you're the kind of person who needs to feel like, am I doing the right thing? Like you got to be okay with dying too, like some part, that for me, that's the bottom line. It's just like, okay, it's just life. So let's live it, but it is going to end. So I'm not going to be like freaking out over every little thing, but I love that I know all this stuff,
Yeah.
to enjoy this game, because it is a game. You can play it or not. And I never feel any pressure. I mean, when I've heard Garrett interview sometimes people who were totally not into any of the stuff that he's doing, he's always so generous and respectful with them. There
Right.
was no like, oh, you're an idiot, you can't be a part of this, and I have a lot to learn about that. I'm learning, how to just be with something and enjoy it, and hopefully radiate the energy that people can feel like, it's okay, you don't have to do this, nobody has to do this, I don't have to do this. It's just
Exactly.
a dance that I'm choosing because it's fun, because what else am I going to do, like, because I want to explore and experiment and see how long can I keep kicking so I can keep doing the art that I love, you know and feel good in my body, that I can bend and walk and run and dance and do things that, feel like movement, like that I can move in life, while I'm
Exactly.
here. But it's a
Exactly.
choice. It's nobody standing over me, including myself, going like, "Ah, you did that. That's terrible. Why aren't you doing this? Don't you know that's poisonous?"
Exactly,
But
because yeah, that's why knowledge alone is not enough, right? Because the knowledge, you need it, you can't go without it, but it's not the whole thing. Because if you use the knowledge like a weapon against yourself and then you use it to judge yourself, you use it to judge other people, then it's not, that knowledge is actually not working for you at that point. You're going to get sick for other reasons from that negative toxic emotion, even if you
mhm.
avoid the puzzle. And what you were saying, maybe this is one of the common threads also that runs through everything that I'm doing, including this, Garrett's work and his community, is that at some point you become a bigger fan of reality than your beliefs and your ideas and what you've been fed. And there's like a magnetism to reality, because without reality, we can't make good decisions based on what's actually happening. And
Mm-hmm.
and this is not that common, where people want reality. People want their ideas, they want their philosophies, they want their belief systems. That's all very comforting to them until all of a sudden nothing works. Like the other day on Facebook, somebody actually put a post, what are the main foods that are considered healthy that are actually toxic? So she was making an open, honest inquiry. And because I
Mm-hmm.
never go on other people's posts and talk up, because why? I'm just going to antagonize. They're going to tell me I'm stupid. And I'm just not going to do that. But she openly asked this exact question. So I only put two. I could have put a long list, but I just put leafy greens and crucifers. And then her friend came along and got so offended and like, don't you know she's a vegan? I'm like, well, she asked, right? So if she wants reality, and now she didn't complain about the answer at all, maybe she does want reality. Maybe she's come to the point where her vegan diet isn't working for her anymore, which is very common. Some of them have like major problems and they have to get off it and they have to get back to muscle meat proteins like we talked about. And yeah, so reality is a very, very big and beautiful thing. Very painful. It's like Joel would say, it's beautiful and it's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The two things, right? Like to come even just on the nickel thing and say like, oh, I had the braces and I did all these wrong things and I was a crazy vegetarian, not just eating my weight in vegetables, but juicing them exponentially
Mm-hmm.
higher than that. And and the metal in my body and wearing metal every single day and thinking it's adorning and beautiful. And
And
like so.
tattoos. I have
Oh,
tattoos on my
tattoos.
body or whatever. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
another
I
story.
feel so
Another way
lucky. I'm
to
afraid
go.
of needles, and I didn't want that.
I'm
Just
so
never did.
grateful I never did. Yeah,
Yeah.
tattoos is
Yeah,
wow. You
that's
know, like Garrett
yeah.
said, if you do have them, then you might have to be, if you want to. You don't have to, but if you choose to, you can take the modified citrus pectin for the rest of your life to keep down the nickel, you
Right,
know?
exactly. Yeah, and if I can afford it, I might. I just might.
Yeah,
What the heck?
it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what the heck? So I wanted to, by the way, just let people know on this theme of reality that Micah Ellers and I are doing a private video series right now. It's been really amazing for me. It was a selfish thing at the beginning because I was learning a lot about Gurdjieff's work from him, but I wasn't learning about him. I wanted to know
Mm,
more about Micah, his personal story, his transformation, the turning points in his life. So I cornered him for a video about that. I taught him how to speak in the first person. That was hard. And boy, things really changed when he started to talk from that internal experience. So we made that first
mhm.
one. It inspired us to make a second one. That was just after I got the news about my guru being, exponentially much worse than I could have imagined. I'm still reading this.
Your
This.
your ex-guru, not your
Thank you.
current guru. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That guy got nickled. I think he was crazy on nickel, actually. And so then, yes, we did one video on the false light, how people get attracted to, whether it's spiritual knowledge or health knowledge or whatever law knowledge, like moths to flames. And then all of a sudden the moths are on fire because it's not the light wasn't what they thought it was. And so through this video series, we're teaching about self-remembering, the results of that, the outcome, how it looks on the other side of a self-remembering kind of a process, which is not unique in itself. This I'm just having fun using Gurdjieff's language. The beauty is that it's all copacetic with everything that I already found inside myself, and that I have been using and was passed down to me that I could find inside myself back to reality. So to let people know before I forget that if you are interested to get this video series, I'm going to be sending the third one tomorrow. It's how your relationship with yourself changes. You know how people struggle with loving themselves and hating themselves and loving themselves and hating themselves. And, it's always this, like you were talking about, judging yourself. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Now I have to hate myself, or I had bad experiences. Like, what happens when you end up victimized? This woman who wrote that book about my ex-guru, after she was so severely abused by 3 predators, then she turned on herself. She became the predator. She abused herself. She went very dark and deep into addiction. She harmed herself incredibly, and she couldn't stop doing it. Right. So this is kind of hardwired, baked into our mechanical self. And so this video series is available. Now, there's nowhere you can go to get it. You have to come right to me. The easiest thing to do is to sign up for my archetype quiz, or just put your hand up and let me know in Telegram or anywhere, at any platform. Right at my website, there is a sign up form for just contacting me, and let me know you want to see the videos that we're calling Micah's story, the second one about the false light, the third one coming out tomorrow on the relationship with yourself. It's all leading to an 8-workshop series that we're going to be giving starting July 9th. The last video I said, when you hear it, it said it'll be starting at the end of June, but for sure it's July 9th, so don't be confused by that. And then we're going to go through the 8 archetypes of the hero's journey. And his expertise, in addition to knowing Gurdjieff's work, is that he's an acting coach, right? So he knows how to set up scenarios and to be literally playing through the archetypes, not in this case for the purpose of becoming a good actress like Dagmar is, by the way, a very good actress, but for the purpose of knowing yourself, for discovering what's real in here. What are the lies that I've been telling myself that I could wake up to and not suffer the expense of that anymore? So that the essence of who you are could literally consume the false, what Gurdjieff calls false personalities. And so we're going to have a lot of fun going through these exercises. And if you ever had any idea that you thought acting was fun, but you never really wanted to go and, audition and do what Dagmar is doing, which I'm going to get you to talk about in a second, then this is going to be a scream. It's some of the most, like, I've never seen people peeling in laughter, like just like crying. I had the tears coming down my eyes because of the spontaneity, because you don't know what's going to come out of you. You don't know what's going to come out of other people. You don't know the scenarios. And sometimes they were secret. We would only, like, the 2 people wouldn't know the scenario. They would only know their bits so that you could see how you would react. I gained more self-knowledge from that in the classes that we already did. It was astounding. And it wasn't because Micah was going, oh, did you see this happen? And you said that and you did this. It's like, no, it was literally because I played it back to myself and I could see reality. It revealed a big pattern, and I could take a chunk out of that expensive pattern at that time. So there's my big speech about it. I'm going to be sending that out. The best way, again, to connect is I'm going to get the link to my archetype quiz, because that's the easiest. If you've already done it, then you need to just put your hand up somewhere and say, hey, I want to see those videos. And it was so informal. It's in the private. This is Micah's private story. He's sharing details about his life that won't be on social media. So please have honor in when you get these, and don't just shoot them out into the wild internet land. And so, Dagmar, you are there in Los Angeles, or the Los Angeles area, and you are working on, now, is it your one-woman show? Did you say you're finding
I'm working on a screenplay. I'm working on a screenplay.
Nice.
I'm in Babylon. I'm in Babylon working on a screenplay.
There you go. There you go. That's amazing. And you have a one-woman show. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yes, I do have a one-woman show that if anybody wants to look at it, just email me and I'll send you a link, which I have on Google Docs, because YouTube took it down.
Are you serious? What the heck?
Yeah, it wasn't for any content. It was more, I mean, it was on there for like a couple of years, like 2 or 3 years, but they took it down because of the music. So
Oh, a
I
copyright thing. Darn.
copyright. Yeah, so I can send anybody a link. It's called Loose Underwear, and yeah, it's something that I've worked for many years to bring forth, and I think it's funny and dramatic. It's an hour long, and now I'm working on a film that I've decided I'm making a film. And but as you're talking about the whole reality illusion, you're really describing the best classic structure of a film or a book or a story, where the character starts in some kind of not wanting to be in reality, and that's part of the process. Like, as mistakes are part of the process of learning and growing, so is the denial. Denial is not just a river in Egypt. It's a strategy, I feel, that because we're not always fully prepared and strong enough to handle whatever reality might have. So the denial is like kicking the can down the road, like in the Love Your Liver, what we do. Sometimes, I went on a high fat diet because it gave me time to research. Now, I didn't stay with it, thank God, but I sure was on it a long time, because it just kept me afloat, kept my symptoms down, because I was adding the fats where all my toxins can go and hide. So to me, the same thing about denial or not seeing reality. It's a way, some toxic thoughts, whether they're your own or whether it's something that you're seeing out there that's just like unbelievable, like what you discovered about your ex-guru, seeing that you thought it was bad, but after you read the book, you're like, oh my God. And now obviously you're strong enough, you have enough capacity to contain that intensity, but everybody doesn't, and different parts of our lives. So a good screenplay, you see how a person slowly comes to the end where they are able to drop the illusion and have enough that their own essence, as you say, can embrace all of it, including the illusion. So that it's not like, oh, this was an illusion, it was horrible, oh my God. No, it's more like, this was part of the journey. This was part of the process of pulling together scattered pieces that were out there in the world, you thought, or the character thought, but you start to see how you're really embracing, bringing everyone to the table, or at least being able to look at them, whoever is at your table, whether it's all just parts of you, or your parents, or the person, that most affected your life. So it sounds like a great venture. And in acting, and in, when you are acting is training for, I think, the highest form in life, which is improvisation. True acting, you have to learn how to be in the moment, and it's the most pleasurable way of surprising yourself. And like when you're writing a screenplay too, if you don't surprise yourself, you're not going to surprise the audience. And the surprise isn't in some who done it kind of like, oh, so I thought the killer was him, but then I was wrong. No, it was the other guy. No, I mean surprise, like the evolution, that the character suddenly does something that breaks their pattern and is unexpected. That's the surprise. And you're like, wow. Because in order to write that, you have to go through that journey yourself as the writer. You have to keep, even though you think you know what you're going to write, but really fun, writing happens when you are, unmooring your ship and going into the unknown, and willingly, stumbling and making mistakes brilliantly, with gusto. And that's part of the entertainment of not just good writing, but good life. Whatever you're doing, just doing it with gusto, and like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Well,
Right.
you die, let's say.
That
But
is, yeah.
but But if you die in the process of doing something that feels like I'm so alive right now and present and taking a chance to unravel something because you can feel that desire to want to grow or to just face, like you were saying, see reality, come out of the illusion and not hate the illusion, but just see it, and then, because if you hate it, then you can't be a human being to other people, because we're all constantly creating new little illusions that keep us, we somehow we know what we're doing, uh, but I love, like, the Gurdjieff work. What appeals to me is that there is an awareness of what's happening, that you're participating in it, that you're not just the hero's journey where you're going off, and just, this is what I do, where there's some awareness of like, oh, okay, now I'm in my princess phase, or now I'm doing my lover phase, or, now I'm in deep in mother. Um, to have that beautiful awareness is, I just think that's pleasurable. It's just being creative is we're doing it, like, what else? I mean, we're having a very creative conversation. We're mixing
Totally.
biology, not just the alchemy of our bodies changing, but the alchemy of our transformations as we're going through, because we're addressing such a powerful pet peeve of every human being, which is eating. Sometimes I would joke and I say, I think I just came here to eat, you know, uh,
For sure.
because we get so attached to it, because it's truly eating, like, and being eaten, those two. My version of what they were saying about being eaten is that I feel that every time you allow light in, you're letting it eat you in a way.
Mm,
That there is this process of eating and being eaten.
that's
So
beautiful. Oh, I love that.
that it's a beautiful thing. We offer ourselves to others. I've let people eat me all the time, and I've eaten other people too, because
Right.
sometimes the nourishment you need, you don't know, and sometimes it could be a complete stranger, and you're standing online somewhere, and before you know it, you were a meal for somebody that's going to nourish them for maybe decades. I've had that experience where some people gave me that gift and I don't even know their name.
Hmm.
So it's this whole, it's a creative, we are creators, whatever that means. But it's not stable. It's not like, okay, now I'm done. We're all done, everything is done, and this is the answer. Like one of the themes that I'm working on in this screenplay is the theme of lying and truth, and there's just so many angles to both of those. And
Hmm.
it's, to me, good art, if you want to say it doesn't give you an answer. It just makes you ask more questions and love the questions and the wrong answers, and
Totally.
somehow just makes you a bigger human. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off on the arts here, but
No, that's beautiful because you're seeing the universal principle, which is also what I'm seeing in all of these arenas, whether it's food or the spiritual, emotional side of the work with that is a bigger focus for my world. The artwork, yeah, like I wanted to make one parallel, by the way, that you were describing. There does come a point where you can start to tune into the hunger for your essence to consume your false self. This happened to me
Mhm.
at some point, and I want to compare it to an LYL experience. We'll start to wrap up after this because we're over 2 hours here. But
Oops.
there came a point where I learned to use MSG, and that it wasn't, in fact, bad toxin like we were taught it was. And I remember going to sprinkle some on my food that night, and I started to cry because I felt the hunger for glutamates. I had never felt it before. There was no point in feeling it because I had denied myself
Mhm,
that I
mhm.
don't eat those foods, and even the high glutamate foods I wasn't eating, my body was starving for them. And as soon as I was able to have some, then I could tune into this hunger for it and know when I want that and I need that. it's the same with your essence. I also touched down
Mhm,
with the
mhm,
hunger of the essence,
mhm,
and it's very profound. It needs to be fed or it won't grow, and it could actually diminish and die and become, so like you literally have no possibility to have that divine connection, which our essence is. And
mm.
so yeah, I just want to make that
Oh,
comparison,
beautiful.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
and it
love
becomes,
that. Just yeah.
yeah, and it becomes, because what you're also expressing is so profound, and even just in the feeling of what you're showing is that the the pain of reality, yes, that's true, and if you ever tried to deny that, you'd just be absolutely misleading and lying people. But the satisfaction in it becomes like a game. There becomes kind of a magnetism. So yeah, the hunger of the essence is pain. That's what hunger is. Starvation is pain.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
the recognition of it starts to become this in and of itself. It's attractive. You want that. And over again, I've exposed myself to the pain of reality, and I see, oh, it didn't actually kill me. It didn't do to me what I thought it was going to do. It didn't, leave me raped and pillaged lying on the floor like it threatens to. And
mhm,
and then it becomes like a game. It becomes fun. And I see this. I saw it yesterday in a beautiful client who came from, some deep despair, which they often do. It's not, and then in the end, she is laughing at how funny it all
mhm,
is. Not because it wasn't hard, not because she didn't do the work, but that she got to that place where she saw the game of it more so. And anyway, I'm
wow.
just badly butchering how beautifully you expressed, but
No, that's I love hearing that. Sometimes the word beautiful ache comes to me.
yes,
Like there's a
yes.
beautiful ache being alive. And that's my favorite part of the Loose Underwear, my show, is at the end, because I feel like I really captured it and surprised myself by the ending. And still, even if I perform it now, it always feels like it's that's how I know that it's something that's real, that when I get to that place, it always feels like a revelation, to find that the beautiful goodbye and the beautiful hello, both, that we are here on earth doing, kind of, we come in, it's like, hello, and then goodbye, it's not like, oh, goodbye. It's like, goodbye, what's next?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing. Well, I'm super excited about your screenplay. And so if anyone wants to reach Dagmar, you could come in the House of Free Will, because she's a member. And for those of you also that don't know, that are interested in the Love Your Liver world, we do have a Love Your Liver study group in the House of Free Will. Right now, it's housed as a Telegram group, and our weekly meetings. We often end up discussing LYL without any plan to do that, but enough people are having experiences and wanting to compare notes and ask questions and stuff like that. I also do a weekly podcast on a subject that is important to me, that's front and center in my consciousness, often way more personal than I'm ever going to share on a public forum like this. That's my jam. I don't mind, sacrificing my personal life for the most part to, if somebody can get something or learn something or at least feel not alone in their struggle, what I maybe came through myself. There's a ton of podcasts that Micah already did with me on self-remembering. I think there's 8 or 9 of them in the can already. So there's lots of good things happening over there. If you're already a Love Your Liver member, I'm offering a 3-month guest membership to come and check it out, knowing that the Love Your Liver might be your only interest at this point, but just so that you could.
Only $3 a month. Come
It's
on.
only as little as $3 a month after that. Exactly. So this is not the House of Free Will is not a business for me. Let's say I do coaching, I do one-on-one things, we do courses, and I do trainings. The Journey Coaching Training Certification is coming up in September again this year. That's a very serious training. But the House of Free Will, that training is in the House of Free Will. But the normal workings, day-to-day workings of the House of Free Will is is a love thing. And that just keeps the lights on over there. So any donations are very appreciated and welcome regardless.
Good,
So
Beth, good title for your book, A Love Thing.
yes, yes.
Your memoir, A Love
There
Thing.
you go. There you go. I felt the lover very strong in the last days. Everything that you ended with was really drenched in the lover. I made a lover post recently about how, sometimes when you put something out, these podcasts I do consider to be a work of art. These living conversations, they're spontaneous. Nobody has any idea what is going to happen, including us. And then sometimes, putting work out there, it feels like, does anybody care? Is anybody listening? Is there any, but the lover will go, you know what? That's not why I'm doing this. And I'm going to let go of all my assumptions about where people are at, or, whether they care or don't care, or they're ready or not ready. And I'm just going to make beautiful things. So that's at the end of the day, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for the platform, and that you keep doing it, and you keep pulling in all these interesting people, and that you keep the conversation going. And your curiosity is it's a great gift that you have, and your investigativeness.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Could have been a journalist, but instead I'll just pick on people that I love instead. So
also a good line.
Nice. Thank you so much, Dagmar.
Oh, you're so welcome. Can I give if anybody wants to see loose underwear, if they want to have that experience, you can just email me it's my last name, Stansova, at AOL.com.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, first and last email.
Okay. What I'm going to do is put it in the chat here. I'm not using the @ symbol because then your email will get eaten alive by bots.
Oh, okay.
So you're better not to publish that on a forum. But did I get it right? Stansova at AOL.com.
Yep, that's it. Oh, I didn't know that. See, you're so smart.
I just had it happen to me. That's why I had the reality of being eaten alive. And so do contact Dagmar Stansova at AOL.com. If for any reason you didn't pick that up, then just reach out to me. Let me know you wanted to connect with Dagmar, and I will hook you up. So thank you everyone for coming out. It's been a total pleasure. I always enjoy talking with you, Dagmar, in our private conversations. And then this is probably the most fun that we've had before on one of our lives. There are more. You can even go back. We had a short time where we had the, what was it called again? Can you remind me?
Yin on the Rocks.
Yin on the Rocks. So I think there was maybe 4 or 5 shows, Yin on the Rocks. You can go back on my YouTube channel and find those. And other ones where we did a whole deculting of natural health series. What was that, like 6 or 7 episodes? Something like that.
And then was that the one where I listed all the diets I was on?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We went one through the other. Yeah. No, people actually constantly give me feedback about that series, that it was really good for them. So
cool.
Then, that's, just in case it helps to know that people are getting a message. So, thanks again for everybody that showed up today live and contributed in the chat. That is always fun for us. And I think that's all for today. So thank you and love you, Dagmar.
Love you too, Beth.
All right, everyone, I'm going to play us out, and bye for now.
Lord and supporter of all, forever free from identity. Be well, I'm dwelling in you. Be well, I am dwelling in you. Be well, I am dwelling in you. Ipadrashta numanta Varta Gupta Maheshwara Paramatma Jai